This is Jack, and 3 months ago Jack suffered from a problem that's all too common in today's day and age. And this problem was being too fat to bulk. Well, let's just say Jack came to me on the 1st of November and we made the right choice, because 3 months later Jack is down an astonishing 10 kg and now looks like this. Well, today Jack came down to Munster Pro Fitness for a push session instructed by the one and only Vanilla Gorilla himself, and here's exactly how we got on.
Jack, I would do incline bench press to start, but I kind of want to have a look at your bench press form.
Yeah.
So we'll go with flat bench over here. What's the suicide grip? Did you get that from me?
I don't know, it's just the way I've kind of always done it.
Do your warm up as you usually would do it.
I usually do 20 with the bar. Yeah.
20?
Yeah.
Right, that might be one thing we change. I used to kind of do the same thing as well, to be fair. Just kind of looked at it from the perspective that I do like an AMRAP of like 60 or 100 and then call it a warm up. But then I was like, I actually just can't do as much as I know I'm able to do in my actual working sets. Right. Do you want to go a little bit lighter for your warm up?
Usually start with 20s.
You do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Cut it there. If I didn't say how many reps to do there, how much do you think you would have gone for?
Probably 10.
And what's your working set?
5.
Of 95.
Yeah.
So like 40 is close to half, and like 10 reps is, you're just kind of getting a little bit closer to, let's say, failure.
Right.
Now you're still probably 15 reps away from failure.
Yeah.
But you're kind of getting a little bit too close for comfort that I would consider appropriate for like a warm up.
Okay.
You know, you kind of want to strike the balance between, warming up and getting the blood flowing and all that and warming up the joints. But if you're doing so much in your warm-up sets, especially if you've got another like 2 or 3 that you're going to do, I would argue that you've built up a certain level of fatigue before you've even gotten into your working set. That would be one thing to change. It's not to say not to do warm-up. No, absolutely do it, but just I would even slash by half the amount of reps that you typically do. This is also how you don't warm up. I think Bro Science did a video on it before. The typical bro warm-up is nothing short of bar, 60 kilo, 100 kilo, and then whatever else you're going to be working with.
How many reps would you say then? About?
What would you do?
With 60, I'd probably still keep it near 10.
Yeah, way too much. 3, I'd say. 4 is a bit much. If you're doing 60 for 10, like I'm bad at maths, but that might be 60, 70% of your working set for 10 reps. Yeah, one thing definitely to change. Like for me, my working set would be 140 or 150. At like 120, I'm doing no more really than 2 repetitions.
Okay, right.
I'd even leave it at 1. By the time you've worked up to, like, let's say in your case, 60 or 70, you know, you've kind of warmed up as much as you're going to warm up. Anything beyond that is just a little bit redundant. So then as you get like maybe 60, I don't know whether you go 70 or 80, that'd be 1 rep max sort of stuff that you'd be doing.
That's mad, because even when I get to 80, I'd be doing like 6 to 8.
And you're calling that a warm up?
Yeah.
So with this, literally 1 and then you're done. That's nuts. I'm excited to see what difference it makes even in this session. Put on 140 and I'll call that set number 1. I haven't benched in ages, lads. I swear I hit 180 before. Straight into your working set. What is it?
90.
90. Try 90 first, yeah. Oops. Right. Yeah, that's just annoying. That'll kind of mentally throw you off. Right, you've seen that I jumped rather quickly from, let's say, the 120 by 1 to the set of 140. Probably like a minute, a little bit more in between. So I suppose just because you're working sub-maximally with the warm-up weight, just make sure that you still rest like maybe 2-3 minutes before you actually start your working set. 'Cause it could be very easy to go, oh yeah, it's just 120 for 1 and my working set's 140. So then just do your 120 for 1, put on the 140, and then a minute later, whack out 140. So just be conscious as well of the time in between your warm-up to your working set.
How long would you usually rest for?
The older I get, the less I like staying in the gym for long periods of time. Like I like to get it done in an hour. If I was really serious and really determined to progress with the bench press, I'd probably be looking at 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Rob.
Oh.
Yeah. How has your bench moved since start of November?
It hasn't dropped, but like it hasn't gone up either. Like
And
I've kinda
how much
just-
weight have you lost?
just a little over 10 kg now.
10 kg. Important point to make is Jack's after losing 10 kg since November. And the fact that he's actually managed to maintain the weight that he was bench pressing at the 1st of November, I would even consider that to be progress, because Jack, as a 10 kg lighter man, is able to output the exact same amount of weight. So his relative strength has actually increased substantially. It's just the objective weight on the bar hasn't. And that thought only come to me because I'm 5 or 6 kgs lighter than I was a few weeks ago. It's like, why is my bench press feel a little kind of meh? Or why is it so hard to progress lately? He just got it, well, both is kind of my training age. You know, I'm 10 years into this shit naturally, so it's gonna be very hard to continue to progress session to session, week to week. But also the fact that I'm in the throes of a cut. A lot of my energy is being outputted towards things like CrossFit, high rocks competitions, a lot of running. All these things are very difficult to balance, also progressing in the gym as well. Bear that in mind if you're in the middle of a cut. The fact that you can maintain your strength can be considered progress, because the lighter that you get, the higher your relative strength becomes to your body weight.
Yeah.
Bro, done flat bench. I would do like an incline dumbbell, but I kind of got off dumbbell pressing. Let's do a hammer strength machine press. So that's like an incline press here. Wow. Good. So I'd like to see. I liked how the last set looked for you, so I'd say do the same weight. A chest fly.
Probably rather cable.
Let's do it. What's your history with like body composition? Did you start off skinny? Did you start
Yeah,
off?
I was high 60s, low 70s for years, and then I just pure dirty bulk, and then I kind of stopped training for a while, and I got up to nearly 85 kg, and that's when I joined you then, because I was just too fat, I was unfit, like I wasn't looking well or performing well, so that's when like I texted you, and now I'm back down to 73.
Was it you who mentioned to me that you wanted to go muscle building
Yeah.
at the very start? Maybe a couple of years ago, I would have said, oh yeah, look, that's fine. Let's fucking do maintenance and then into a gradual bulk. But the only problem with that is you wouldn't have improved your fat composition. So you just kind of would have creeped up in terms of body fat.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at that from the perspective that I think at our starting point, we're going to put a cap on how long you're going to commit to building as much muscle as possible. You've even seen that now 10 kgs later, like how much leaner you look and how much actually bigger that your muscles look as a result of getting a little bit leaner. I said to you a couple of weeks ago, you'd reach a certain level of leanness whereby every week beyond that, it just looks exponentially better. You're definitely at that point now. And while things feel good and you're able to do it, we keep pushing to get as lean as possible. So then on the flip side of that, you can gradually add calories, gradually add even fat mass, but you won't mind because you'll be putting on muscle alongside that as well. It's a lesson for anyone as well. I would even say that 90% of the clients that I have need to start off with a fat loss phase. Previously, you know, I would have been in the middle as to whether someone who's skinny fat should bulk or they should cut, but the vast majority of people need to do a cut to get to a fairly lean foundation of body mass. Got visible abs, you know, things are looking pretty decent. And from there, you're gonna have such a solid baseline of which you can prolong a bulk for the bones of a year, even 2 years if possible. So going back to the start of my own journey, I started off a little bit on the chubby side of things, started running, got very, very lean and quite skinny, so I was unhappy with that. But then from there, I was able to bulk for 2 years straight because I started off so lean that even if I did add 5-10% body fat, it wasn't so much that I was looking in the mirror going, I need to cut soon. Can you lean forward a little more into it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. So you made the fatal mistake of going too light. If I could describe your fly, your elbows are quite tucked to your side. Whereas what I want you to do is kind of flare them a little bit there. Just kind of open them out and stretch them out a little bit more. Way better. Slow down how you're opening them. Good. Give me 3 more partials. 1, 2, 3. That's good.
Four. Right.
So on something like this, I'd cut the rest periods.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you know, who the fuck can be arsed progressively overloading
yeah,
a lateral
yeah.
raise? Probably not the best thing for a PT to say, is it? Oh well. Nice. If you're ever setting up cable lateral raise, just elevate it a little bit from the floor. Because like as you're kind of leaning away from it, you know, that's pretty much still dragging your laterals out there. But you're kind of down here. Sometimes you can find that it's not pulling as much, whereas it's going to be more tension if it's pulling from this direction as opposed to kind of going that way. So not a huge difference, but just something that subjectively burns kind of my side a little bit more.
I usually set up like that.
You
The
would.
way you done it felt better. Like
It felt better. Because there's just this slight range here, even when I'm doing it here, it feels as though it's a lot easier. Now it gets difficult when you get here, but it's very easy kind of motion here.
Yeah.
Whereas you can make this portion of the movement a little bit more challenging if it's pulling like directly horizontally. Not a huge difference, but definitely just something that extended over, let's say 20 repetitions of the same exercise can probably contribute towards more of a pump, if that makes sense. Triceps.
How many are?
You might have an idea of a rep range you're looking to hit in your head, but if you misjudge it, don't just stop because you said you wanted to do 12. If you can get 18, 19, just keep going, then you'll know better for the next set. Immaculate form, Jack. Well done. Spot on. Another question that came up recently was an individual somehow was full stacking the leg extension. Right, I would question first and foremost your actual execution technique for full stacking the leg extension, because even when I tried to full stack the leg extension, You know, if I'm being brutally honest, I could probably improve my form, which would take the weight I need to use down a little bit. But if you are in the very rare situation where you're forced to full stack a piece of equipment, and let's say you're able to do an obscene amount of repetitions, 16, 17, 18, if you don't want to do that high amount of reps, really focus on slowing down the eccentric or the lowering portion of the exercise. So you'll see here, because if I was to do the full stack as quickly as possible, I could probably do 20, 25 repetitions, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is probably 10, 12 high quality repetitions where I slow down the rate at which I'm lowering the weight. Very rarely will anyone really be in the situation where you're so strong that you're able to do so many repetitions for the max amount of weight available to you if you're executing, number one, full range of motion, and number two, a really controlled eccentric portion of a rep. Just go one stack at a time because your form is immaculate. I want to make sure with someone like you that, you know, really prioritize the form and execution while you have it. It'd be one thing if you're finding it difficult to get the form on one. It's like, you know, we got it 90% of the way there, so just hammer on the weight from that point. The fact that yours is so pristine, being able to execute that full range of motion, that control that you have over it, like your elbows aren't even coming forward, like that's just going to be far more valuable to you. Make that your baseline. Try and keep ego in check as much as possible and just kind of incrementally work your way up the stack or incrementally work your way up with sort of reps, because in the long run, it's going to pay you back a lot more. Can you change your grip on it a little bit? So rather than kind of having it in the palm of your hand, kind of like that, can you grab it like that? Good, spot on.
Come on.
Get that stretched out a little more at the bottom. Kind of painful here, no cap. I'm going to drop the weight.
Yeah.
Literally allow it to stretch as much as possible at the bottom.
Oh.
All right. Do you notice a difference just trying to let it go a little further?
Yeah, it's a lot. Way harder to come out with that.
You can see on the tricep pushdown, essentially full range of motion to like there. Slight difference, but to me just contributes to more of a pump. Just rationally can feel it stretches the tricep just a little more. Now focus on just executing that really well, that movement to here. If you just wanted to spice it up a little bit, your elbows come forward a little bit at the top, I find that helps. It's the same with that. That's perfect range of motion. You just allow the weight kind of pull your elbow a little bit back. For me, it just kind of, it hurts a little more. So I assume it's a good thing. Mightn't be. How'd you feel?
Good, yeah. Tired. Push myself, like when you're training with someone,
Yeah.
you push yourself a little bit more, like.
Well, that's the thing. You can go one of two ways. You can train with someone who farts around and they distract you, or you can train with someone who actually pushes you a little further.
And that's a wrap on today's session. But I want to finish off this video by saying that the one decision that you make today can lead to a vastly different reality in 6 months' time. After our session, Jack and I went for breakfast. And during our conversation, we discussed the almost frightening impact that one very small decision can make on the rest of your life. Jack was discussing his apprehensiveness about signing up to my coaching. On occasions gone by, Jack would have said it's not for him, or now is not the right time. But whatever was in the water this time around, Jack decided to go with it. So he signed up, initially wanted to bulk, but having reviewed his starting circumstances, it was very clear that a bulk was not going to be the right approach. But 3 months later, Jack finds himself close to the shape of his life, which wouldn't have been the case had he made a slightly different decision 3 months before. Now is probably a good time to say that I'm opening up limited spaces for one-to-one online coaching, in which you're going to have one-to-one chat and check-ins with me. You'll find all the information in the description of this video, but do be warned, spaces aren't going to last for long. Because while you sit there and ponder and wonder is now the right time, there's going to be plenty of Jacks out there who decide to bite the bullet and 3 months later will be reaping all the rewards. So thank you for tuning into this video as always. Drop it a like if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you're still sitting on the fence. And aside from that, we shall see you all in the next one. Take care.